So Anam Aloha, everyone. Welcome. And if you could put your name and where you're logging in from, that would be great. Awesome. So make sure before we begin that you have your human design chart, at least know your type. And you can go to jovianarchive.com and you can get that. And you can go in the information box. I always have the link there to get your type. And let me just share the screen here. This one right here. There we go. Okay. So I want to talk about some interesting things today to put things in context for people. Like, why is this human design thing important, you know? Not just important, like crucial during this time period that we're in right now. Yeah, and that's great. C.A. Patterson, that's a great idea. So you can put your type and profile if you know it. You can throw in your astrological details too if you want to. Okay, so this is, whoops, I'm kind of in the way. This is the chart. This is the chart right here as of today, right? As of today. So we're still in the 59. The sun is still in the 59. And remember the new moon, both videos that I did, both in the 59 of the shadow of dishonesty, the gift of intimacy and transparency. And the moon is activating this channel down here, right? This 59.6 that I talked about. This is the channel of mating. It's called the channel of mating. This is going through a huge mutation for the age of Aquarius that I talked about in the video. So it's interesting that they're connected, and it's 6-3. It's probably be disconnected tomorrow. They're only the moon's there in one hexagram for 2 days, not longer than that. Yeah, so it's going to be gone really, really quickly. So this is a good time to, if you need to have those important conversations with people, this will break down the ego. It breaks down the ego barriers so that you can create this sense of intimacy. So, yeah, so you can have a real talk, right? Okay. So I wanted to dive right into this, right? And by the time I do Tuesday, we'll be on to the new hexagram. So 59's covered. I already covered it in the last two videos. And we'll go into the 40 hexagram, and that's going to be on Monday. That gets activated Monday evening, and then I'll have a live stream by then, by Tuesday. So I love this meme here. This is basically, whoops, the evolutionary energy. So we're in a cycle of evolutionary energy right now, and this is what evolution, right, doesn't really care about your plans, the ego's plans, or the non-self. I want to use human design language too. Ego and non-self are interchangeable for me. That's that voice in your head that you believe is you. It's been with you since you were young. Sounds like you. You've been listening to it forever. And now it's time to let it go, right? As we evolve into this new awareness system. Right? So the mental awareness system we're evolving out of. This is how we experience life through the mind and ego. Moving into this emotional awareness, right? And that's going to mutate. 2027, we're going to start to see the new species coming in. Anyone born after 2027 are going to be quite different. Right? They'll be quite different. We're going to see a radical change as we come closer and closer to 2027. Anyway, this emotional awareness is mutating into this, what's a solar plexus mutation, that's our emotions, into spirit awareness. And this is the experience of unity consciousness, right? But it doesn't happen, as I say, like a broken record, without purifying your emotional body. And that's to do that inner child work, 0 to 7 years old, with all those stuck emotions are. So, so evolution. Okay, so we talk about the Aquarian age. We talk about the golden age, right, with the moving out of the Kali Yuga into the Sat Yuga, right? That's the yogic through the Vedas, right? We're going through all these cycles. Well, we're going through a huge cycle. It's called the Cross of Sleeping Phoenix. So these are the global cycles we go through. So 1615 to 2027. This was the cross of planning. The cross of planning. So this is the background frequency. If you think of evolution as a background frequency on the planet, and it's guiding humanity. So as soon as this started in 1615, coming to an end, look at that. Another huge reason 2027 is such a big deal that we're leading up to. This is ending, and then we're moving into this cross of the sleeping phoenix. So I'll just go over this briefly. Okay. So the cross of planning that we've been in, it's been all about tribal consciousness, all about tribal consciousness. And tribal consciousness is all based on, this is nationalism, you know, you can throw religion in there too, right? Borders and barriers and all those things, that's tribal consciousness. Well, it's based on a bargain. You do this for me and I'll do this for you. Based on a bargain and exchange, and it's the money system, right? The money system is a perfect example of tribal consciousness, and it fosters codependency, right? Where humans become dependent on outside authority, outside agencies, right? So this is all coming to an end. All these support systems are coming to an end. This is the Titanic that I talked about, little g. Right? That's part of tribal consciousness. Our educational system, our medical system, our financial system, our legal system, religion, marriage, military, police, all of that's coming down. This is all the cross of planning. These support, you know, humanity got together at 1615, and then we got this call and push to evolve towards, okay, we have to support one another. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Well, we put all these systems in place to support one another, and for the reasons, I mean, I'm speculating, but the reasons could be to have that support network to just have as many children as we can, right? To really diversify the gene pool for what we're in, the time that we're in right now, right? So yeah, I did put it down, human procreation. So all those support systems, you know, the bargain is, okay, you go to our indoctrination school, you know, from 5 to whatever, 18, 19 until you graduate, and then you can go on to like get your PhD in indoctrination if you want to, right? And then you get your career, that's the promise. You get a career, you get married, you get support there, you join this religion, you get that support from the religions. You worked till you retire, and then you get your Social Security if you're a U.S. citizen. You know, that's all the promise. Well, all that's dropping away now, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing the dismantling of all these systems are starting to come down. This is the Titanic. So it would really be smart, you know, instead of the people like, you know, let's say they're on the Titanic and they're complaining about, you know, water is in this hull and this is happening on the Titanic, and we're losing chairs and we're losing our sleep, and it's like you got to pull back, right? You have to pull back. And you know, and people are like, why doesn't someone do something about it? Because this cross of planning is ending, right? There's not going to be that support anymore. So it would behoove us to get off of the Titanic. It's going down and we can't save it, right? We can't save it. And people are like trying to resurrect this body that's dead, basically, right? It's dying. This new is being born, this new Aquarian age consciousness, and this sleeping phoenix is being born. So it's all based on the cross of planning is based on strategy, left brain stuff, right? Like it's called leftness in human design. And if you've got your recorded readings, you know how many parts left you are. So there's four potential, like variable, it's called, right? So you can be combinations and permutations, right? You could be I'm 3 parts right, 1 part left. You could be like 3 parts left, 1 part right, 2 parts left, 2 parts right. It depends, right? It's in your recorded reading. So we're moving out of this leftness into rightness, and this is the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So leftness is based in the ego, and it's based in time. Our whole educational system is about overdeveloping this leftness and being logical and strategic and planning, right? The cross of planning. So it's all about bargains, making the bargains. I go to school, I get educated, and then you're going to provide a job for me. I work until I'm 65, and then I get my social security back. That's the bargain. Well, all that's dropping away now, right? It was based on details. It was based on you running out and getting the skills you needed to focus, and then to go into this bargain exchange paradigm that we've been in, right? Okay, I have the skills. I got the job. I've got educated. Here are my skills. This is what I'm giving to the community, and then the community gives something back to me. Well, this is ending, so the planning's not going to work anymore. So this is the Titanic. So if you're still trying to hold on to the Titanic and using that old paradigm, of like, oh, well, this is what it was for my parents, and this is what it was like for my grandparents. So I'm going to send my children to indoctrination school. I'm going to send my children to get their PhD in indoctrination school. It's not, your children and grandchildren are going to have a radically different life than us, right? So that's not the way to go. And tune in. Don't listen to me and say, well, Michael's speaking gospel here. It's like, tune into your own self. This is what the sleeping phoenix is about, that we're entering, and this comes in 2027. So we're feeling it. We're seeing the breakdown of everything. So don't spend your energy and waste your energy on, oh my God, the government's not doing this and they're not doing that, and getting all angry and stuff. It's like, that's a real misuse of your energy. It's a waste of your energy, and it's a huge distraction right now. It's time to go within. So what's this new energy that's coming, right? That's new energy that's coming. Well, we're going through a spiritual rebirth, right? So the phoenix, think of the symbol of the phoenix. It's very alchemical, right? There's an alchemical process that's going on within each one of us. And this is this new awareness system, right? That's moving out of this, the mental, right? The mental. And the new awareness system is happening in here in our solar plexus, right? That's the enteric nervous system. There's lots going on. If you tune into your body and your belly, you can really, really feel it, right? So it's gestating, waiting for the sleeping phoenix to start. This is the sleeping phoenix starting to awaken this new awareness system. So this new cycle that goes in till 2438, it's the age of self-empowerment, right? So this is all about not giving your authority, right? Cross the planning is all about the bargain. Was like, I give my authority and my power over to someone outside of me. Someone outside of me is going to tell me what to do. Not with the cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's not the way to go, right? It's about self-empowerment. It's becoming you're going inside for your own answers. So if you're a 6-line profile, I know there's some 6-line profiles here. You know what? Every parent that's got a reading for their children from me that I did, recorded reading, I would say 9 out of 10 of them are 6 lines. So they're really coming in strong, these 6-line profiles now. So they go through the 3 stages of their development, right? 0 to 30, trial and error, right? Finding out what, I'm just doing nutshell here, finding out what didn't work in their life. It's like they're designed that life bangs into them. They bang into life. They seem to be making tons of mistakes as they're in their first 30 years. Can make them really pessimistic, right? But what they're doing, they're not making mistakes, they're making discoveries, right? They're learning what didn't work. This didn't work in my life, and this didn't work in my life. Then they come up on the roof, from 30, and then 47, that's when things start changing. When they're up on the roof, they're kind of aloof and they're distant and they're protected. They're not in this banging into life's banging into them thing. Then it starts 47, 48. That's when the universe is like, okay, it's time to get off the roof now and come back here into this trial and error process. But you're completely different now as a 6th line, right? Because you have accumulated all of this wisdom. So, and you're using those first 30 years of what you did learn, and then you share that with people, right? So people will be drawn to you, and all you have to say is like, I did this. You're an objective observer in a sense, as a 6th line role model for this new age of Aquarius. They come to you, and then you just share your experience. That's all. And the people that are drawn to you are going to have some connection to these experiences you had from 0 to 30 years old, right? And you share that. So the 6 lines really are learning big time to go inside and be their own inner authority. So that's what they're modeling. They're modeling this cross of the sleeping phoenix cycle that we're entering into now. So you're a big part of it if you're a 6 line profile, a big part of this this new cycle that's coming in for 2027. And it's not a big heavy thing for the 6 lines. All they have to do is just be themselves, but they have to change, right? That's the dilemma for the 6 lines. They're kicking and screaming, coming down off the roof because they remember what was like from 0 to 30. It's a big deal for them to get past that 30-year mark, right? But it's different now because they've got all this wisdom to share just by being themselves and teaching people by example. No, I don't give my authority over to an external power, right? I listen to my own self, and I listen to my own wisdom. I listen to my own intuition. And that means not listening to the ego. Ego and intuition are 2 different things, right? Your own inner wisdom. So, I don't know why I went on that tirade there. So this is the age of self-empowerment, right? So it's the age of individuation. It's the age of being your authentic self, right? Your authentic self. And that's the only thing that's going to work for this new cycle that's coming, right? So this is what happens when you refuse to become your authentic self, when you refuse to individuate, when you refuse to listen to your own inner authority, when you go along with the herd. This is evolve or go with the herd. And the herd are clinging to the cross of planning. Somebody's going to save me. The QAnon's going to save me. D. Trump's going to save me. Something outside's going to save me. Western medicine's going to save me, right? This is the herd. And they're running off the cliff, right? These got false leaders or the Pied Pipers taking them right off the cliff. So this is going with the herd. This is refusing to change, refusing to evolve, right? And look what evolutionary energy does not care about you. If you go with the herd, you're just gone. Evolutionary energy is only concerned with the people that are individuating, the people that are going with this energy. They're not resisting this energy, right? They're going with this new way of being. We have to change. This is our new way of being. We've got to go inside for our own inner answers. No more codependency, right? So this is about taking responsibility. And we see this out in the world, in the news. Nobody's taking accountability, blah, blah, blah. It's like, look at your goddamn shadow. These people that are just projecting their shadows left and right on these false leaders. It's like, look at yourself. Look at yourself. Where are you not taking accountability for your life? Where are you not taking responsibility? These are the questions we have to start asking ourselves, right? In order to evolve and grow with this new energy. And it will wipe you out. Like, look, that's exact. Evolution does not care about your feelings, right? I don't want to change. I don't want to change. We have to change. And that's this pressure that we're feeling right now. We have to change. It's evolve or die, right? It's a big culling of the human species. So if you're watching my channel, I mean, you've got a chance at least. It's one good sign that you're watching this channel. I'm not saying I'm the only one, some kind of savior, right? I'm just doing my role as a projector, a 2/4 emotional projector that has the 1/8 that's had to learn about being my authentic self all my life, right? So this is about not living in time. If you're clinging to time, well, this is what it used to be like. Right? Then it will always be like this. No. Kiss it goodbye. 2020 was a marker. The last 7 years of this cycle was a marker, a huge marker. That the old way, there's the new normal is not going to that old normal. And it wasn't that great anyway, right? We're coming into this new rebirth. It's like a rebirth here that we're going through. So this is about receptive rightness. So with my variable, I'm 3 parts right. So I'm 3 parts future and 1 part past. And my 1 part past is in my mind. So the great thing about that is I'm able to communicate to other people. If you were 4 parts right, you can't communicate. So I feel like that was a blessing for me to be able to communicate this rightness. So I'm coming into like, oh, this is normal to me. This cross of the sleeping phoenix is completely normal to me. The cross of planning was not normal for me at all. And if you have a lot of rightness in your chart, then you'll understand what I'm saying. So this is all about being receptive, and it's about being in the moment, the present moment. It's about being in the present moment and making your decisions and choices from that, right? Not from time. That's the ego and the mind, but in the present moment, right? So trusting in the present moment, I'm going to make the right choices for me. And this is where human design comes in, because it's your tool. It's the thing that you can rely on, that you can count on, is your strategy, right? Your strategy and your authority as a manifestor generator, manifesting generator, projector, reflector. So you can't see that, but look. These are the gates that are activated for this cross of the sleeping phoenix. So it's the 3420 up here. It's not activated here, but you can see the 34 is coming off the sacral. Then it goes up to the throat, the 3420. So that's the channel of charisma. If you have that, you know this one. This is doing your thing, doing what you're called to do, right? What you're called to do. It's a manifesting generator channel, but it's get what you love to do, what you love. This is the busy channel. The last place I lived, the couple that I lived with, they had this, both of them had this, and it's getting very, very passionate in what you do, whatever you're doing. It's the busy channel. You get completely lost, and it's very individual, right? So you're getting lost in whatever you're passionate about. And when you're in that frequency, you send out the ripples of empowerment. So you're empowering other people by just doing what you love to do, but you kind of get locked into your own space in your own world, right? So it's very, very individual. So that's part of it. It's like finding to me, it's like your soul purpose, right? And just losing yourself in your soul purpose. And that way, like there's no more I'm going to save you. Like the cross of planning is like, I'm going to save somebody. I'm going to go and be the savior for someone else. I'm going to rescue them. There's not going to be any of that in this new cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's all about energy, right? So you're sending ripples. You're empowering people. You're teaching them to fish in a sense, right? With your energy. You're not catching the fish and giving them the fish. This is a completely different cycle. It's empowering people to take care of themselves. Do you see how we're weaning ourselves off this dependency on the external? So you've got that, and I thought I wrote something else down here. Okay, and then the 55 and the 59, and I just talked a lot about the 59, didn't I? We just had the new moon in that, the 59, right? Of shadow of dishonesty. This is about how we bond, right? And then the 55 is victim, letting go of the victim consciousness, letting go of this dishonesty we have in our relationships that's embedded in our relationships, being free. 55 is the gift of freedom. 59 is intimacy and transparency, right? It's how we relate to one another. And the 55, if you've got it, I've got the 55 in my chart. It's in my Saturn. It's in my Saturn position. Now 55, well, the solar plexus mutation's happening, right? 55 is kicking that off, right? This is spirit awareness. This is the experience of unity consciousness. This is being able to share your awareness with another person. Couldn't do that before with the cross of planning cycle, right? Even if you're the most intimate with a person that you could be with, right? In the Piscean age, you're sharing everything. You're sharing your bed, your home, right? You're having sexual relationships with them. That's the closest we can get to merging with one another. Still, you can't share your awareness with that other person. You go into your dream world. You can't take them in the dream with you. Well, this is going to change, right? We'll be able to share our awareness, right, with another person. So that's what this twin flame thing's all about. And the soulmates, these new Aquarian relationships are starting to come up. And what's required of those relationships, especially the twin flame, ego death. Each person of the twin flame connection, they've got to go through their own ego death, right? They can't bring in these codependency and jealousy and possessiveness and neediness, right? They can't bring that into that twin flame connection because they're sharing that awareness. They can't share the awareness because this is the block, worm tongue, right? The ego. So it's going to be this is, I feel like, the start of it. I call them sacred marriages, really, right? These twin flames are sacred marriages, not like the legal system marriage, but spiritual marriage, right? The higher 5D realm, right? Merged there, but we're going to see that merge in the external world. So it's really a new time, and that's a key, this 55-59, about how we relate to one another. And it's not going to be sexually. It's not going to be about, I imagine we'll still be having sexual relationships with one another, but it's going to be different. It's not going to be about hormones and genetics and procreation and stuff. It's going to be for a higher spiritual purpose with this cross of the sleeping phoenix. So it's about getting in the now, getting into the present moment. And that's what, he doesn't belong there. The ego does not belong in the present moment. The ego and mind can't live in the present moment. You see? It's the spirit awareness. This is these new states of consciousness that we have to get used to living in with the no mind, the no ego, right? This is the solar plexus mutation, but we've got to do this work, right? What else did I want to say? There's lots to say about this. But I just want to go into my program briefly, and this is not a soupy sales thing. This is about my intuition screaming loud and clear that this is needed. So it's the 8-week program, Dilute the Ego, or Not Self. It's the same thing. So it's about preparing for the 2027 global cycle shift. So it's about getting in the present moment, this program, and it's not about this. So it's different than these live streams. These live streams for me are on the fly. I just grab a bunch of pictures. I don't know what I'm going to talk about because I'm 3 parts right, and then it comes out of me, right? This is going to be different. So it's a sequence of steps for 8 weeks, right? And it's about preparing for this 2027 global cycle shift. So it goes from September 11th to October 30th, the day before Mars goes retrograde, right? So that's a big marker. So it's not just about it's diluting the ego, yes, but it's purifying your emotional body because the ego attaches to unintegrated emotions from that 0 to 7 years old, and then it feeds off of it. This is what keeps the ego alive. It's like a parasite. So when you purify your emotional body, you're not feeding that ego anymore. And that identity starts to dilute and go away. So do you see, I'm not just not a bunch of ego teachings. It's like, yeah, you'll learn about the ego traps, but you're also going to, the big work is this purifying of your emotional body. And then when you have this internal movement of energy, right, from these 0 to 7 years old here, when these stuck energies start to move, right? It starts to circulate. Most of us aren't even aware of that we've got stuck emotions. They're so buried deep within us. Well, the program will bring those forward and they start to move, and then your life starts to move, right? Because that's the cause. It's what we see out here in the external. That's the effects. The cause is what's going on in your emotional body. Right? So you're going to create a different reality that's more aligned with your authentic self, right? And of course, that's going to attract prosperity and abundance and attract this Aquarian relationship if that's your destiny in this lifetime. Enlightenment is 2 by 2, right? And that requires, like I said, this ego death to dilute this ego. So what I've done this morning is I added my 2027 solar plexus mutation as part of it. And that's a 6-hour webinar that goes much, much deeper in what I'm talking about right now. And you can access that right away. As soon as you purchase it, you can access that right away and start watching it. So that's 100 off still, right? Until September 4th. So keep that in mind. And there's going to be lots of support. There's going to be weekly meetings with us, big 3-hour meetings. There's going to be a group meditation. You'll have homework, reflection questions. You'll have meditations to do. Right? And you'll have the support of one another, which is really, really key, that you're on the same journey, right? You're together. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to share that. Okay. And this is the key, right? Is to start healing this trauma from 0 to 7, right? And then the ego starts to dilute more and more, and you come more and more into the present moment. This is the only barrier. That's the true barrier to being in present moment awareness, which is the spirit awareness, is this, right? This work that we all have to do. Okay. Okay, so does everybody know their type? Oh, triple split. And of course, there'll be human design stuff in the program too. And I have to get everybody's chart who signs up. Okay, Satnam, Gretchen's first. C.A. Patterson, Shaima, Lisa, Projector. I know I'm spiritual designer. K, generator. Sept, I think. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Sinbad, the Manifestor. C.A. Patterns is the Manifestor. Oh, we got quite a few Manifestors here. That's great. Karen, generator. Jennifer, Jen, of course. Okay, that's interesting. Jen, Isadora, Winter, me and my both kids have 3 right arrows. Yeah. I knew they didn't fit into the school system, but this confirmed my suspicions. Yeah. Yeah. No, because it's all set up for leftness, not rightness. But what you say to your kids, Jen, is with your right, when you're all right, you know, when you're 3 parts right like me, 3 parts right, you don't really need to study. You don't need to study because you're like a sponge, right? You're completely taking in so much, not just information, but you're taking in frequencies, taking in a lot of stuff, right? If you're 3 parts right, is you don't have to study, but you have to be present. So just tell your kids all you need to do is just be present in the classroom. Like just really listen to what they're saying and you'll remember it. And it's true. Sometimes I'm amazed at what comes out of me, like things that I didn't, and people will say that, like, you've got a crazy memory. How can you remember all this? Well, that's my rightness, right? But it's about the person in front of me that draws it out of me, right? I can't access it, but I can communicate about it because I've got that one arrow left, right? So you have to be really aware of who you surround yourself with, right? So if you're around a bunch of idiots, no offense to the idiots, but unconscious, ignorant idiots, then that unconscious, ignorant idiot will come out of you if you're right, 3 parts right. Okay. So I'm Robert Elizabeth Corey, and let's get on with it. Okay. Oh, Elizabeth has the right angle cross of explanation. Yeah, so Elizabeth's got to get used to explaining things over and over and over and over again. Yeah. No, I really feel the kids, and I get so excited to send this information out to the parents who have 6-line children, just to learn, like tell your kids, Jen, because if they're 6 lines, if they have that in their chart, it's like don't be, because of the world we live in, right? It's like, I made a mistake. I failed. That word. I failed at this. I failed at that. What you say to your children is, what did you learn from that? What did you learn from that experience? Because that's really what's happening. What did you learn from that experience? And to celebrate that. Wow, you learned what didn't work for you. And that's what you have to start celebrating, right? In those first 30 years, you learned what didn't work. That's awesome, because you're coming closer to what did work, because that's what they're going to be sharing as role models down the road, right? Okay. So let's go for the overlays. Where are they? Yeah, I get excited. My point that I was trying to make was to get this out to the children, right? That's what Ra, the founder of Human Design, talked about. It was really for the future. It wasn't really even, he said, even for us. It's for the children that are in the world right now, to understand how they work, because this is what you can rely on. When you're operating as your type, right? As your type, as a generator, when you're operating as a generator, that evolutionary energy is not going to, you're just going to ride with it wherever that's taken you, as long as you trust your sacral response of yes or no. When you start to go in your mind, right, that's listening to this, listening to the ego. Well, you better do that because everybody else is doing it. Well, what if you disagreed with your mother? She's going off the cliff. What if you disagreed with her? She won't love you anymore. This is the battle. But all you do as a generator is you go back to your sacral response, yes or no, yes or no. And that's what you listen to. That's what you obey. And you're not going to get flung off by the evolutionary energy off the cliff. This evolutionary energy is not interested in people and the humans that are giving their power away, that are in herd mentality, that are doing things that go against their own inner knowing to save grandma. You're going to be a good person. You'll save grandma, right? All this BS, the deception that's coming out, pulling you away from your inner authority, right? So this is the sleeping phoenix. This is obeying your own inner authority. And most times it's going against the status quo, right? But you'll be still here, right? Until until whenever you're destined to pass on to the next adventure, right? And don't you want to be here for the party? That's what I say. I'm here for the Aquarian Age party. They say that we had to line up souls to get in here at this time because we're going through such a huge transformation as a humanity right now. But we got to roll with it, right? We can't be sticking to the past. Okay, so the generators, You're listening with your sacral, right? Your sacral speaks in yes or no, and you're responding to life. And what makes you a generator is we have this defined, which is great. That's your life force energy right there. You're the one that's generating this life force energy, this creative energy on the planet. And that's what you obey. You don't listen to your mind. So let's see. We'll start off with the ego cards here for the generators. I want to tap into the generators that will be listening. What messages do we have for the generators? Anyway, stick around with my channel, right? I'll be referring more and more to the cross of planning and the sleeping phoenix. Little nuggets, little bite-sized digestible nuggets of information. Are there projectors out there? I'm really feeling in the collective that the projectors are really getting awakened right now. Because we're the new leaders, right? Of this new age of Aquarius, the projectors. Servant leadership, helping to guide the other types. It's our time, right? It's like we're the firemen. We've been down playing checkers, waiting for the call, right? For years and years and years, and now it's our time. I'm feeling it. Okay, so what are the generators? What's the ego telling the generators? Okay. So, okay, there we go. So there's the generator, the open and enveloping, right? And the generator here, this is the dishonesty that we're still in. That was the new moon. But the ego here, with this ego card that I chose here, it's fishing for a compliment. This is throwing your harpoon in another person. That's what the ego is doing. And this is the ego looking for a compliment, right? In order to bolster itself up. And it comes from a deep, deep insecurity. So watch that, the mind looking for validation, right? Needing credit, needs credit. Okay. You know those people. You can hear it, you can feel the harpoon in you, that they just threw a harpoon in you, looking for a compliment, fishing for a compliment. So they can feel good about themselves, and that's the generator. But the thing with the fishing for a compliment generators, it never ends. It never ends, right? It's like a black hole. The ego's never satisfied. It will constantly want compliments and compliments. Am I doing okay? Right? That's the insecurity. Am I okay? Am I okay? I need you to tell me that I'm okay. And again, it's looking outside of yourself. But where you really want that is that you need to validate yourself. You need to compliment yourself, right? And you're like sincerely on your gifts and talents. And this is valuing yourself. So you've got to give this to yourself. Don't be throwing the harpoon, right, at other people looking for validation. Because this is all about keeping that ego bolstered up. And remember, it's about identity. The ego is all about identity, right? So whatever you're identified with, it's like Velcro. The ego attaches itself to anything. And as soon as you create an identity, you need to defend it, right? You need validation for it. So if you identify, let's look at a mother, because that's the biggest identity, right? Like a powerful identity. I'm a good mother. I'm a good mother. And then the mother's out there looking for, I need validation. I'm throwing my harpoon at people, saying things. Well, I did this for my son, or I did this for my daughter. And the hidden agenda is like, I want a compliment that I'm a good parent. I want to know that I'm okay. And it's never going to be enough with the ego. So just look at this stuff. Right? Watch what your mind is up to, right? I'm just remembering something from Course in Miracles is An unwatched mind. An unwatched mind can create a lot of trouble for you. An unwatched mind, when you're not watching your mind, when you're kind of just slipped into the mind, you're slipped into the ego and you're just channeling out the ego. So when a lot of troubles can start for you, right? So it's about watching your mind and learning to go into these expanded states. This is the cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? Wants us now to move into these expanded states of awareness. And the frequency on the planet is helping support that right now for us to expand, right, into these expanded states of awareness, to get out of the fears. Get out of these ego games of throwing harpoons at one another, looking for validation on the external, right? And it's never going to validate you. Never, ever. You have to validate yourself. So this is watching the mind when you're in generators, when you're in this expanded state of awareness, then you can watch what your mind is up to. And it's like, oh, where is this coming from? Oh, I feel it's coming from insecurity. Why did I say that? What was I really looking for there? Like really start to question your mind, right? It's the gap, what I talked about, getting in the gap between you and your mind and your ego, because you're not your ego and your mind. You're vast, right? And that's what we're going to be learning as we come closer and closer to 2027. But some people are going to stick here. They're going to stay here. This is what I am. I'm limited. I'm just going to do what they tell me to do. I'm going to live in the smart cities. I'm not going to travel. I'm going to eat bug sandwiches and drink cricket milk and beg and plead for my food stamps and this and that. This is the ego, right? Some people are going to be choosing that. Some people are choosing this, these expanded states of awareness, but you have to change. Okay, so the fishing for the compliments. We got to watch that with the ego. And then you've got the Hermit card generators. That's major arcana in the tarot deck with the Ten of Cups. That's like the happy. It's usually a rainbow. There is a rainbow. The traditional deck has a rainbow too. This is the family and the happiness. Whatever the Ten of Cups means for you, can mean family for some people. It can be like an awesome job for another person, or a relationship, or all of it. I'm having it all. Whatever makes you happy. It's love, it's blessings. So this can come for you, but it's about going inside. And this totally fits with this fishing for a compliment, is going into introspection, self-discovery, becoming a light onto yourself. The Hermit has his own lantern. Right? That's symbolic of I become a light onto myself. I find my answers myself. I listen to my sacral. And it takes courage to start obeying your sacral that speaks in yes or no, but you can trust it. You can trust it, generators. And start now practicing as we come up to 2027. No, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to be in this relationship. And your mind may fight you tooth and nail because the mind wants security, right? In the old way. And when the mind wants its version of security is always rooted to the past. That's the cross of planning energy that we're leaving, right? Your security is inside you, right? Is inside you. So it's calling you to go inside and discover who you are. Out of all the types, out of all the 5 types, the generator family, so generators and manifesting generators, you have to know yourself, right? Of all the types. And Ross talked about the generators. The generators have the potential to wake up the fastest. Imagine 70% of the world starts to wake up all at once. The generators start waking up all at once. Like, wow. And start generating life force energy that's healthy. It's not rooted in frustration, but it's rooted in fulfillment. Right? Feeling good about what they're doing. They're the creators, right, of this earth. So that's what this says, that if you go inside, you're going to get this happiness that you're seeking. You're not going to find it out there throwing a harpoon at somebody looking, oh, you have to give me happiness. My happiness is out here. It's like, no, your happiness is inside, generator, and that's listening to your sacral, right? What else was I going to say that Ra said about the generators? When the generators start operating correctly, they can grow really, really fast, really, really quickly, more than the other types. So when you start using your sacral, so just start practicing this week. Yeah, I think that's the message. Yeah, to not be looking for your happiness outside of you. Okay, I'm gonna just leave that up here. I think that's right. And then we'll go to the manifesting generators. And so the generators and the manifesting generators make 70% of the world, and it's 35% each. So 35% for the manifesting generators. And they need to practice patience out of any of them because they've got so much energy, right? So much energy. So what do the manifesting generators need to... What message do we have for the manifesting generators? But once they get going, right, when they got that correct response, that yes, right, and it's correct, their sacral saying yes, and they go, they're a whirlwind. Like to watch a manifesting generator in action, the things that they can get done when they're in their power, it's amazing. So you want to be going to sleep. This is for the generators too. You want to be going to sleep at night and be exhausted, but a good kind of exhaustion. Like I really loved how I spent my energy today. Right? If you're in that frequency of frustration, there's something off. You're in the wrong energy. You're using your energy in the wrong way. Okay. Okay. So what's the ego trap for the manifesting generators that are listening? We've got Mars and Gemini too. So you got to watch that. Mars is our drives, right? Where is it now? It's in the 20, of course it is. Yeah. That's the shadow of superficiality. I've noticed that with conversing with people ever since I went into Gemini. People want to talk, right? They want to communicate. So there's that potential to get into fights, but not to go very, very deep, right? That's what that shadow, the 20. Just watch that manifesting generators. That just occurred to me. To not get stuck in your mind. Needing to be right. Okay, that's a lot. Let's do here. I can feel the manifesting generator energy in me. Projectors know that, right? When you're around a bunch of generators and manifesting generators, it's like your fingers in the socket. That's what it feels like right now. Okay, manifesting generators. What's the ego saying to the manifesting generators? Be calm here. And channel that energy. Just bear with me. One's got to jump. Okay. Well, there's a hidden ego here. Patience. Okay. That one came out. Oh, that's interesting. So the ego trap for the manifesting generators has to do with authority figures. So using an authority figure as your parent, as your earthly parent. So substituting an authority figure in your life as your parent. So think of that. It could be a boss or a supervisor. Could even be your spouse, a friend, somebody that you're having issues with right now. Or not issues, but you're leaking your power maybe. You're leaking your power over to this person. This is what we do as adults, right? We substitute somebody, usually an authority figure in our life. So it could be a supervisor, a boss, a landlord even, a friend, right? Maybe a friend that's older than you, older and wiser than you. And so we substitute that person. That's what the ego does. And then we get this desire to fit in, right? All those issues from our childhood start to come up, play out with that person. Oh, that's, yeah. So there's the desire to fit in and get ahead, to appear responsible. And boy, are we seeing that out in the world, right? I'm going to do this. It's the virtue signaling, right? I'm going to do this so I appear responsible and I appear that I'm a good person. But where are they getting their info from? It's not coming from inside. It's not in integrity. It's all externally referenced, right? Okay. So right away you're stressed out, manifesting generators. The 2 Earth is the stress card. And this is like trying to juggle all these balls at once. You know, we're retrograde season, manifesting generators. So this means the life, the universe is telling us, go inside. It's time to go inside and it's time to reflect. It's time to prioritize, right? The 2 of Pentacles here. And to come into balance. This is like you got too many balls up in the air and it's going to just not be a good scene, right? Not be a good scene. And then you got the 6 of Fire, which is victory. So victory, recognition, self-esteem. And so this authority figure as your parent. So collectively we can see this, right? Since 2020. It's this desire to fit in. This is the herd mentality. We got to fit in. I have to appear responsible. And it's not inner referenced, it's outer referenced. If I do this, because they said, if I did this, I saved grandma, right? If I do this, then I'm responsible. And anyone else not doing that and listening to their own inner voice, they're irresponsible. Do you see the inverse, right? Because it's outer referenced. It's not coming from a place of integrity, right? So this is about, this is the thing. If we did our inner child work, if we did this inner child work, right, and let these traumas go, we wouldn't be projecting our parents, right? Because all the child wanted from 0 to 7 was unconditional love, which they didn't get, not in our world, right? So there that inner child grows up. Sure, they got an adult body and they look like they have this responsible job and they're wearing a suit and tie and stuff. I used to call my father the 3-year-old that wore a suit, right? Because emotionally, you're still locked in that trauma. So then the ego, because you want to heal as well, right, is that projection. It's a projection of that earthly mother, earthly father onto this authority figure, which could be big G or little g, right? And that's what we're seeing, right? Little g, this projection of the parent onto little g. Well, I've got to fit in like I had to when I was a little child. I want love. I want love from daddy and mommy. I want love from daddy and mommy. So it's like all about the desire to fit in. I'm just going to do whatever little g tells me to do. And then I'm a good person. Right? And then the propaganda totally feeds that, right? So I appear responsible. And it's all about, yeah, this desire for unconditional love that we didn't have as a child. So manifesting generators, give yourself that. Watch where you're leaking your energy. Why are you doing what you're doing? This is all about getting, sleeping phoenix. It's all about individuation. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about being accountable to yourself, responsible to yourself. It's about going inside and asking those questions. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why is my mind to tell me to do this? Especially around an authority figure, right? I just froze there. I just froze. So, yeah, it's about becoming internally referenced now. You're internally referenced, not outer referenced. That's what integrity means. The inside and the outside match up. And that's often going against the status quo, right? And we already identified little g does not give a shit about you or me, right? They're just playing this horrible role for us right now, so that we can grow and evolve. Because that's going to happen to you, manifesting generator, when you start to listen to your mind and not your sacral. Evolution energy. MG gone. Right, next. Right? Evolutionary energy doesn't care. And then these cards. So stress, watching the stress. Because stress can make us, especially if you've got this. You see that down there you can't see that with the overlay, but at the bottom is the root chakra. If that's open, undefined, which means it's colored white, then you're affected by the stress of others. So you can feel this pressure, right? And then the mind, right? And manifesting generator, you're like so revved up with energy anyway, and the mind just wants to, do something about it. I got to do something about it, but you have to have the patience to just sit with your sacral, and listen to the sacral. It's like I'm not making any decisions from my mind. I'm going to my sacral. I'm listening to that. And it's going to be triggered by stress, right? And this is what's going to give you success, what you're seeking, success and recognition and self-esteem and fulfillment in whatever you're doing. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, we need to, because we're conditioned, influenced by others just through our aura. So sometimes manifesting generator, you need to remove yourself from the situation. If you're feeling like I'm getting stressed out and my mind's acting up and I can't make a decision, I'm back and forth with this 2 of earth, I'm back and forth. It's just to remove yourself, retreat, right? And in public spaces, we have bathrooms, right, that we can retreat into. Family bathroom, family washroom, or whatever. Just go in and sit and take some long, deep breaths and listen to your sacral. You want to be clear when you're making decisions, right, in this day and age, right? Okay. So that's the generator family. Which, we can learn from all of us can relate to these, I think. I can relate to those ego traps. Where are we going now? Let's go to the reflectors. 1% of the world. No, so tell me if you're a reflector. If there's somebody here on the call that's a reflector. Resistant and sampling. So they really are the barometer for the group, Be really interesting to hear from the reflectors how they're feeling these days, what they're experiencing. Okay, what do the reflectors need to hear? It's 2022. 2022 is almost over now. Can't believe it's September next week. Why am I so fast? Okay. I just jumped out really quick for reflectors. Well, you got two major arcana. Let's just do the ego ones. So you got the star. And the star also is a major arcana. This is such a Age of Aquarius card too, right? The water bearer. Do you see him? The star. Because it's after the Tower card. Which says that you've gone through a huge shift, reflectors that are listening. And this is a faith, restoration of faith, inspiration, and wish fulfillment, something you've been wishing for. And then you got the 20, which is renewal. In the traditional deck, it's judgment. Do you see her with the trumpet? The angel with the trumpet. That's following your soul's purpose, your soul's calling. So the projectors are getting the wake-up call, but so are the reflectors. That's what I see here. Maybe you've been waiting too for your right group, reflectors, because you have to be in the right group. So it's renewal. You're going through a renewal period, a rebirth. You're healing. The star is also about healing. Okay. Oh. That nasty ego. Look at the lies it's telling reflectors. Right? That's the voice in your head that you think is you, reflector. It's the mind, the non-self. It's telling you that you're worthless. You're worthless. You've got no value. Right? And you're... because the thing is, when you don't fit in, you know, the ones listening to me right now, I'm sure you don't fit in either, right? But you're the black sheep. You can feel like you're worthless because you don't fit into the system, right? That doesn't value the people that don't fit in, right? Because it doesn't serve the system, right? It doesn't keep the system going. You're not the cog in the wheel. So the ego can tell you that. Because we're all, you know, we have to go back to when we were children, is we all want to fit in. We want to fit in as a child. We're seeking family. We want that family. We want that support. We want that unconditional love. That when you don't fit in, and you try to fit in, but it's just that you can't hide it. You can't hide that you're so different, especially as a reflector. I mean, they're less than 1% of the world, right? That this ego can come in and tell you a bunch of lies. You've got no value, right? That you're worthless. That maybe you're not making a lot of money, having problems finding the right job for you, which is about your soul purpose. And this is saying it's coming. Right? That's what the message is this week for the reflectors, is that soul purpose, you're being called, right? That what you've been wishing for, maybe you've been wishing for a certain job, certain career change, some opportunity is coming to you now, right? Yeah, but not to listen to this, right? That you're worthless, that you have no value. Because your value, again, is not dictated from outside of you, right? That's not where it's coming from. Your true value. Because when you're dependent, right? This cross of planning, when you're dependent on the external for your sense of value, then it can come and go. Well, my sense of value comes when I have a bunch of money in my account, or I've got a nice car, or I'm living in this nice place, or I have this trophy partner on my arm, right? Well, that can be taken away because it's not real. What has real value is your own soul. And when you have that, I mean, you're a trillionaire, multi times over a trillionaire, right? That's your true value, reflector. And reflectors, I mean, you've got to know how much out of all the types, right? That you're very, very valuable. You're like less than 1% of the world. You're just a rare bird, right? So you want your values to come from the divine and who you are. This is telling me that you got to start valuing yourself, not looking to the external for your value. Yeah. Right? And these two major arcana cards are telling me that you're very, very valuable. Right? This is your time. You're getting the soul's calling now. So are you going to listen to the soul's calling or not? But it looks really good, like to have faith. If it hasn't arrived yet, just have faith that it's coming with the star and the judgment card. Oh, and it's reflection. Isn't that funny? You're a reflector. It's one of the key words is reflection. Reflection for the judgment. It's your rebirth. Yeah. Okay. And remember, you're following the moon. Reflectors have to follow the moon, and we just had a new moon. So learn about the moon. You're going to learn about yourself, you know. And to embrace start to value what it means to be a reflector for you. Start to value yourself. And as soon as you value you, then the world starts to reflect that back to you. Right? We'll start to value you, but it starts with you. Okay. And let's go for the projectors. And I'm a 2/4 emotional projector. So we have to wait for the invitation. So remember, projectors, you've got the focused and absorbing aura, right? So you can look straight into someone's G center. If you can see that, that's the G center, that yellow shape there. That gives the person the sense of identity. Your aura can penetrate right to the G center of another type, and you're able to see them, right? And some people like to be seen, and some other people don't. They don't want to be seen at all. You can really see them, and you can recognize them. So that's a key word for you, is to be recognized by other people for your gifts and talents, and then to be invited. But it works the other way too, right? You're here to recognize the other types. You're not here to invite the other types, but you're here to recognize the other types. So you're able to see people, able to see their gifts and talents. We're the organizers of people, right? We're able to see people. It's like, that person would be really good doing this. And what you're seeing is their passion, right? You're seeing their passion. So it's not like you go and do this like some horrible job nobody wants to do. It's like, no, you're seeing their passion. And what a great way to work together, isn't it? When everybody's doing their soul purpose and they're in that frequency of passion. It's contagious. Okay. So the projectors have to be recognized and invited. And the big invitations are career, soul purpose. You got to be recognized and invited. Hey, you'd be really good at this. Why don't you come over here? I think somebody could use someone like you, right? It's got to be that. Invited to a place of living, invited to a deep friendship, and invited to a romantic partner has to come and recognize you and invite you. You can't run out and initiate and invite someone in a romantic partnership. It won't work. Energetically, it won't work. It won't be sustained for you. And you want to be careful as a projector, because your aura, I mean, you really absorb. It's like absorbing, right? You really absorb the energy of others, right? So you want to make sure. I remember Ross saying you got to look at it like if you were to eat a person, right? Imagine eating a person. Some people, it's like, no, I wouldn't want to go near them. But other people like, oh yeah, they'd be really yummy, right? You want to be with the yummy ones. Those are the invites that you want to accept. They're like, she would be really yummy, or he would be really yummy, energetically, because you're living in that frequency. Spending a lot of time in that frequency. It's going to affect you. Okay, what's the projector got to see here? So you got the I'm confused. That's what the ego is telling you. I'm confused. And this is trying to figure out everything with your mind, right? So that's the ego saying, I'm confused. I'm confused. I talked about this in my last video. I forget who got this. It was Capricorn got this. I'm confused. So this is the mind trying to understand the energies in your life right now, right? And they're so intense. Oh, that one jumped out. Are we going to do another one? We got to do one more because everybody else got two. Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah. Not shortchanging you. Okay. So the projector got I'm confused. So the energies are really, really intense right now for all of us, but for projectors, because I feel like you're getting the call. The projectors, that's my sense, right? When I tune into the projectors and out in the collective, 20% of the world are projectors. We're here to guide the other types. That what this is saying, that there's past life memories surfacing. Past life memories surfacing. There may be unexplained emotions that are coming up, right? This can go beyond your childhood experience from 0 to 7. I mean, these imprints kind of follow you from lifetime to lifetime, but they don't often get triggered until you meet somebody from your past life, right? So when you meet someone from your past life, often they'll trigger these memories, and vice versa. You'll trigger those memories in them too. And the memories don't come as stories, I remember we spent this lifetime in this country and this is what we were doing then and this was my relationship with them. It's more emotional memory. That's how it surfaces first, right? It surfaces as an emotional memory, so they can be really intense emotions around certain people, right? This past life connection, that's what it's saying here, is the mind, because we're so used to going to our mind and our ego to try to understand, like, what is this about? And like the mind and the ego is trying to make up an excuse of why you feel the way you're feeling. And it's just really limited. It's a really limited perspective on things. And it can feel like you're losing control in your life. If you've had this experience, projectors, it's that strong pull to another person or a place. And it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. So, so the mind goes into I'm confused, I'm confused, I'm confused. And this keeps you in your mind. And it keeps you from the real work, which is feeling. That's our real work right now. It's just to feel. Right? It's just to feel those emotions. They probably got trapped in your past lives and they're trapped in your emotional body. So go to not trying to understand. And especially if you've got this, do you see that? That's called the ajna. That's your personal mind, right? That green. If that's undefined, which means it doesn't have any color, then you're looking for mental certainty. It's like, I need mental certainty. I need to understand what's going on. So looking outside of yourself to try to understand how you're feeling instead of just feeling. That's all you do is just feel it. I don't understand it. I'm going to let go of this ego trying to understand everything with its ideas and its projection on the external, and I'm just going to feel it, right? There's a reason why this person came into my field. There's a reason why I came into that other person's field, right? Life is bringing us together for a reason, right? To maybe clear up some of these emotions from our past lives. Yeah. So don't stay in the mind. This is what this is saying. Don't stay in the mind, because this is the back and forth of the mind. And then meanwhile, the emotions are like, I'm not gonna feel them. I'm not gonna let them release, right? This is going to happen to us more and more, right? because the frequency of the planet, it's speeding up, and our karmas are speeding up too. So we're going to meet these past life people to either come to closure. Finally, we're going to have a closure on these cycles that we've been in lifetime after lifetime. We're either going to close the cycles out, right? Or we're going to come together, maybe close the old cycles out, and we're both going to go on and we're going to create a new cycle together, right? But it's kind of the choice of the soul, right? Are you guys going to continue the cycle, the old cycle, which is like, that's not going to be supported, right, on the planet, the old cycle? Or are you going to close out this and then begin afresh cycles? Hopefully that makes sense to the I don't want to be confusing the projectors, but all you need to know is you just need to feel, right? And then you'll have clarity. So the tarot cards you got, projectors, are the six of Pentacles, 6 of Earth, and then the 9 of Water. And the 9 of Water, the 9 of Cups, this is wish fulfillment, right? So this is saying that your wishes, whatever you've been wishing for, as a projector, like what do you think about before you're going to sleep at night? Where does your mind go to sometimes? Like, oh, I would really love to do this. Maybe be recognized by, a romantic partner, a soulmate. Maybe I'd like to be recognized for my passions and what I want to give to the world, my contribution, right? Whatever you're dreaming about in happiness, it's like this is saying that this is coming. Not to get confused. Don't go into the state of confusion trying to figure it all out. Trust your aura, right? The invitation will come for this 9 of Cups, 9 of Water. And then the 6 of the 6 of Pentacles. This is the give and take, right? This is the give and take. This is the equal, right? That it's equal. Somebody recognizes you and gives to you, invites you into their life, into their field, right? And then you give as a projector, and it's like this perfect balance, right? That's what the 6 of Earth is, and it's also material, right? It's material. So this means that you'll be recognized and valued for what you give, because you're a bit like the reflector, right? That you're kind of a one-off. 20% of the world are projectors. People don't understand projectors. We're non-energy types. We're not for the generator world. The go energy bunny system that we're in, right? Work the 9 to 5. That's not the projector way at all, right? Projectors are often called lazy, or they're couch potatoes and things like that when they start operating correctly, because they've got to value their energy, right? The projector has to value their energy. But often the non-self projector is the workaholic. So this is really good news. That's what I see. Give and take. Wishes are coming true. Wishes are coming true. And something around a past life connection, past life soulmate connection, right? To not get confused by it. Not give it to your ego. Can you figure this out for me? Just to trust, right? Just to trust. Yeah. We're in wild times. Wild times. Okay. So that's the projector. And then let's go for the manifestors. And the manifestors are... they have the open and repelling aura. You can't see those words. I don't want to fiddle around and get rid of me here. But you can see their aura, the circles, right? That's the manifestors. So they're here to move energy. That's what their aura does, is moves energy. So this can be jarring for people, right? That don't understand manifestors, don't understand manifestor types. Manifestors can go through feelings of rejection, right? Because they get rejected because of their aura. When they don't understand how their aura works. People get triggered by manifestors. And they don't know why. But they get triggered when you're not operating correctly. So whoops, I have to do the other manifestors here. What I wanted to say about projectors is when you're operating correctly, you're feeling successful, right? That's, I think, what I had to say there. So the manifestor, when you're not informing, right? So you receive the divine inspiration. It has to come from your intuition. It can't come from your ego, and it certainly can't come from outside of you, right? Is when you inform. It's like, I got this great idea, right? And then you inform and you share with somebody, anybody in your life. This is what I'm going to do. All you have to say is you're not asking permission from that person. You're just saying, this is what I'm going to do. That's all you have to say. I'm sharing. This is what I'm going to do. And then you initiate. You take action. And then you manifest. Right? And 10 times out of 10, you will manifest. If it's coming from the divine. It's divine inspiration. Yeah. And so when you don't inform and you don't share, that's when you meet resistance, energetic resistance, right? So your aura is going out and out. It's like, repelling. It's moving energy, right? You're moving energy all the time. You're impacting. That's what manifestors do. They're impacting their environment. When you don't share, that's when you get the resistance. You get people, things not going your way. You get people resisting you, lashing out at you, reacting to you. Whatever they're doing to you, that's a sign. I'm getting angry from this resistance. Why is there so much resistance in my life? I just want to do this. I just want to be left alone. Why is everybody in my business? I just want to be free. That's when you got to clue in and say, oh, I'm listening to my mind. I'm not operating correctly. And what happens to a manifestor that's not operating correctly in this new age, this new cross of sleeping phoenix? Evolution energy does not care about a non-self manifestor. Boom, you're out, right? Whatever that looks like, you're out with the herd. Because what you're trying to do here is trying to be a generator, right? That I'm responding. I'm just responding to life. So you see, this is the mind pulls us away from who we are. The mind, ego, pulls us away from who we are. It pulls us away from our power. And you're a very powerful type. You're here to initiate. You're here to get things going. You're here to manifest things, right? From the divine, coming from the divine. So when you start sharing, that's when the resistance starts going down. And then you're not angry, you're peaceful. You feel at peace. So just try, because your mind is going to resist this information coming from me. That's not true. How can that be true? Michael's not living in the real world, right? That's what the ego is telling you, right? I'm in the real world. No, he's not. He's not in the world. He's in time, right? He lives in time. He lives in this cross of planning age. And the thing with cross of planning, with any cycle that's coming to an end, right? It's coming to its end, like the fall of the Roman Empire. We're seeing that with the fall of the American Empire. Well, the fall of the cross of planning is going away. All of these things are going to get more and more intense. The qualities of the cross of planning are going to get more and more intense, right? The bargains will get more and more intense. This focus and detail and the ego and the mind and the strategy and the logic and all that, right? It's going to get more and more intense because it wants to cling. It's trying to cling. That's what happens. I don't know why I brought that up with the manifestor. Oh, with the ego resisting this information. So just try, right? Don't resist your intuition. your divine inspiration. Just try, okay? I'm just going to try what Michael said. I'm just going to try and I'll see what happens. Have the experiment. I know myself as a projector, when I started to really surrender to it, and I'm not 100%, you know, I still am challenged being a projector. But the more I just surrender into my type, the more my life just flows like in a lot more smoothly than it did before. Less bitterness, right, as a projector, the non-self projector. So the same with the manifestors, and then you'll feel peace. That's what you want to feel, is I just want to feel peaceful. Okay, what's the manifestor got? Okay. The manifestor got 3 cards. Let's see what the ego's saying. So you got the Ace of Earth. That's the Ace of Pentacles in the traditional tarot deck. And this is, it's the student too, the Ace of Pentacles. So you're learning something. You may be learning something. Maybe you have an opportunity to learn something. Maybe you're learning human design. But it's also an offer of prosperity, an opportunity. Some kind of opportunity is coming to you. Let's just see what the ego is saying before we get into these other ones. And then you've got the 6 of Water manifestor. And the 6 of Water is soulmate, right? 6 of Water is soulmate. Offer. It's a reunion. It's a reunion. So it could be a reunion with somebody like a childhood friend, but often it indicates a soulmate. Somebody from your past lives coming through. And it's going to bring abundance. Oh my God. Synchronicity, eh? You gotta love it. I never know what's going to happen on these live streams, but I'm always surprised. Okay, so this is coming together now. This is about your relationships, manifestors. So you got the Ace of Earth there, the little boy with the book, and then the six of Water, and then the Knight of Cups, Mr. Suave. So this is romantic. Yeah. He's so romantic, emotional, the Knight of Water from your past life. And it's an opportunity for you, manifestors. But you have to initiate it, right? Generators have to respond to it. But we're not on the generators, we're on the manifestors. So you have to initiate this. And then you got the reject them. And this so fits in with the manifestors because they've got the fear of their initiation being rejected. Right? This offer, because this is an offer that I am giving to the Knight of Water, right? The Knight of Cups, romance, a romantic partner from my past life will be rejected. Will be rejected by them. So what you do is you can't fire me, I quit. Right? That's that kind of mentality. So I'm going to reject this. I'm going to reject this divine inspiration, right? To avoid the pain of being rejected. And this is just a hump. This is just a test. This is the test right here. Right? Remember what I talked about? Spirit awareness on the other side. This is your power as a manifestor. You just have to go through this emotional body. And the emotional body is fear of rejection. Right? What's that ego? You can't see the ego down there, right? Worm tongue that you're leaving behind, that you have to leave behind. He's doing everything in his power to keep you from running through and initiating, right? And he's keeping you. He's like, don't. They'll just reject you. Don't even bother. Don't listen to that divine inspiration, right? Avoid this pain. Avoid. But this is where you have to run through, is to face this fear of rejection. And the thing is, once you start facing it, once you start transmuting this pain, that's really coming from here too, because it's real. This is the root of it. Like if you want to go to the root of it, it's that 0 to 7 years old of being rejected by your parent, a caregiver, right? For being yourself. Again, manifestors are not going to be understood, right? Less than 10% of the world, right? Your parent would have been threatened by you. And people are energetically threatened by you because you move energy. You're powerful. Nobody can get into you, right? Nobody can get to you, in a sense, right? And they can project a lot of stuff on you that's not true, right? So this could be rejection, right? You're impacting my energy, right? The manifestors can completely change someone's life. They can meet like the power of a manifestor to come into someone's energetic field, say a few mundane words, right? Chit-chatty words or something. They leave. That person's completely can be shifted. They can be shifted. That's the power of you, manifestor. So if you have a caregiver, right? A mother, father, even your siblings too, right? That don't want to change. They don't want to be impacted. They're so rooted in their egos, right? The ego doesn't want to change. The ego doesn't want to be impacted. Well, they're going to reject that. It's like, right? The ego is like, get that person away from me. Like, reject them. And you as a little child, a little manifestor child, you don't know what's going on. All you know is like, they just rejected me for being myself, for being me, right? And how hurtful that is for a child, right? Of that rejection. So this is what you're facing. This is what this message is saying. This is what you're facing. It's like, I've got to face that hurt little inner child that just wants your attention. That's all. Right? So how I work with it, I mean, you feel it, because my core wound is rejection. Right? You're a manifestor rejection, but you also can go into your core wound. Right? We all have a core wound. Mine's rejection. So I understand this. It's just to feel it. That's the big thing. It's just like, I'm just going to feel it. Like, let's just bring it into my awareness. I just want to feel it, right? I'm just going to be with it. I'm not going to put any pressure on it that, okay, I got 10 minutes. It's got to be over then, right? I'm just going to be with it, right? This is what you wanted as a child. You just wanted your caregiver just to be with you in that pain. And then you feel it. And then you speak to yourself the way that you want it to be spoken to as a child, right? It's like, okay, like we'll use this example. If this person rejects me, I'm not going to reject me, right? That's how you have to look at it, because that's the trouble. That's where we get into trouble. It's not about that person rejecting you. It's about you rejecting yourself. So you're saying, I'm not going to reject myself. That's my commitment to myself, you know? And that's going to let that inner child trust you more and more. And then this is when the emotional body starts to open up. And this is your hurdle. Once you get through this hurdle, right? I did it. I initiated it. I felt that fear of rejection, and I initiated. I shared. This is what I'm going to do, right? And I initiate it, and it manifested. It's just going to build up your confidence more and more as a manifestor, right? And then this ego is not going to have so much power over you, because you won't have that emotional charge that he's feeding off. That ego is feeding off that fear of rejection that you're not addressing, right? And start manifesting in your life. Yeah. And the other thing that I just wanted to add quickly is that Psychologically, we can catch, like you're a manifestor, yes, you have the fear of rejection, and yes, it's a trapped emotional wound, but also to look at one of your parents, the parent that you felt rejected by, if you like to, was it my mother or my father? It could be a sibling too, because a sibling can take on that role, especially if they're an older sibling, is that they felt rejected, right? That the parent, this was a real twister for me, right? Because I had to deal with this core wound of rejection, is to look at, it was my mother that felt rejected, because I caught the pain of my mother's feeling rejected. She felt rejected by me. She felt rejected by her mother. She felt rejected by her father, right? So it's like you catch the pain of your parent, that they actually felt rejected. Because as children, we want to heal our parents, right, or caregivers, but we can catch the pain, right, of our caregiver instead. So just to look at that too. You got a lot of layers here to look at, but where I want to point you to is just to feel, right? What's stopping me from initiating right now? What's stopping me from informing and sharing? Why am I not listening to this divine guidance? What is this fear? Bring it on. Let it come forward. I'm ready to face it now, once and for all, right? So go there first. That's what I see here. And otherwise, you got really good things. All the types have really good things happening here. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments here. So I want to add my 2 cents in here as a projector. Well, whatever. Jen asks a really good question, right? Let me see here. Okay. Jen Goodwin, what happens when manifestors don't manifest? Well, whatever you don't, that's the gift that you were given, right? By the divine, your type, right? So manifestors are here to manifest. They're here to be, they're God's employee in a sense, aren't they, right? That whatever you don't deliver destroys you. Whatever you don't deliver destroys you. So if you're continually ignoring the divine marching orders that are trying to come through, it's the energy's not moving, right? So it's going to create, and it's going to create disease. That's how it comes through, is that like anxiety, insomnia, you can't sleep at night. Your nervous system starts to break down. Your physical system starts to break down because that energy wants to move through you, because you're here to manifest. Only 10% of the world, because the divine is like, we only have 10% here of manifestors that are being, right? And this one's, it's not, that energy's not moving through, right? It's going to affect you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So it's going to make you feel more and more angry, right? And that can be expressed as depression too, like battling depression, like severe depression, because that energy wants to move through. And all you have to do is face your fears, and start operating as a manifestor, especially when you don't. There's one thing, like the universe and the divine are generous and forgiving when you don't know, but as soon as you know the information, then it's different, you know? Then the messages get louder and louder. Then you got the 2x4 method out, right, until you get it. Okay. Listen, Shemayo, as a manifestor, like your definition of oversharing and another person's definition of oversharing, like a manifestor's definition of oversharing would be like normal sharing for most people, So if you think that you're overshare, overshare, because that's the hurdle you need to get over. Manifestors don't want to share. They don't want to inform. They're non-self. Their ego and their mind do not want them sharing and informing, and then will tell you lies. The ego will tell the manifestor, don't tell them that. They'll control you, and they'll expect things from you, and they'll take your freedom away. The manifestors want to be free. They want to be free, right? But you have to start listening to your intuition, not your ego. Like, listen to your intuition. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So hopefully people are enjoying this human design day. Usually Saturdays, but today was Sunday. And receiving some value from this. I want to talk more about this cross of the sleeping phoenix coming for 2027, because it's already 2022, almost 2023, right? It's coming fast and furious. And so it would be great if you could share your experience, like when you start really operating as your type. And it's going to get more and more intense, where we're going to have to start looking at, like, maybe I got to start obeying my strategy now more, because nothing's going to be working, especially now we're heading into retrograde season. There's all these planets going into retrograde, and that means that any ego, because the ego is losing its power, right? The ego is losing its power right now, right? It's being dismantled for this new age of Aquarius. It's losing more and more of its power, so that means things that used to work are not going to work anymore for you, right? So it's best to just, like, let's go with the river, right? Let's go where the energy is taking us, you know? Okay. So that's what I want to share today, but everything looks great. I'm just looking at the cards here for everybody, and the messages for everyone. Yeah. And we'll talk about the 40, because the sun moves into the 40th gate on Tuesday, and that's a big part of the cross of planning. That was one of the blocks. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. So have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and leave your comments and feedback, whatever you want to share. Okay. Satnam Aloha, everyone.